In this section, we're going to go over functions and what exactly a function is and how we can call functions in Python. So a function, like we said in the primer to this video, is a group of statements within a program that performs a specific task. And this will absolutely change how you will code versus a very procedural way. We're working our way towards more and more modularity within our code. So the benefits include it's simpler to code, it's easier to reuse. We can use one piece of code multiple times throughout the program, and this is better for testing and debugging. So let's dive in and take a look at this powerful tool that is a function. All right, so let's make a function. Let's name it message. So we call it by typing in the reserved word def, and then if we want to define the function, let's call it message. We can call it anything we want, and then put in open and close parentheses, and then a colon. We'll learn what we can and cannot pass inside of this open and close parentheses, and we'll print, you know, I am Professor Muhammad. And then we can say print I teach Python at Miramar College. And that's it. That's all you have to do is to call a function. So if you notice as well that I indented uh, here to show that these lines of code belong to this function. All right. And so if we want to call this function, we simply just type in message and it calls the function. Now, we'll learn what we can or cannot pass, the parameters we can pass to the arguments inside of the parentheses. But let's see what happens when we run this piece of code. Down here runs I am Professor Muhammad and I teach Python at Miramar College. Now, if I this this program is much more complicated. I can always pass message and it'll print out this piece of code. I don't have to repeat this piece of code anywhere else. It's called define it once and it's permanent throughout the whole main body of the program. Now let's delve in and take a deeper look as to how we can utilize this new tool of a function. Okay, so let's take a look at what we can do with these functions and whether or not we can make a program that has two or more functions interacting with one another. Say we want to, you know, find out how many birds there are in Texas and how many birds there are in California. And we can make a simple program that can tell us. So let's let's make a main body of the program. We'll define it as a function and we'll make this when we type the header of the function, which is this first line, we call it main. And the header is just the definition, the name, and the argument parameters here. And say we make two more functions, we call it one function Texas, and and then the other function California. And we'll 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 go ahead and go back and define these. So under main, we want to call these two functions Texas and California. All right, and we want to define what's inside of uh, Texas and California. First, we want to set up a local variable, and by local variable, I mean the variable is only defined inside of the function, and we can think of it as a variable within a particular program, but only inside of the program where this function Texas. So we'll define it. We'll define a variable as birds. Let's set it equal to 5,000. We want it to print the value Texas has, let's say, birds and then birds. All right. So what we're saying here is Texas has 5,000 birds. And now to show the power of functions, we're going to say, we're going to set up another local variable, also birds, but only defined within California. We're going to say birds are equal to 8,000. And we want to print California has 8,000 birds. And then at the end of the program, we'll call the main function. And what will happen is that the main function is called. The main function calls the other two functions, Texas and California, and it'll print out Texas has 5,000 birds and California has 8,000 birds. And we'll run the program birds, and here we go. So what this has shown here is that the power of functions, of multiple functions working together, and also the fact that birds, the variable birds means two different things in two different functions. It only means that particular thing in that function. And we'll go into more depth in the next section about global variables versus local variables. And I encourage you to do some research on your own about functions.